Howdy, one and all, and welcome back. More of your Florida Association of School Administrators Play versus Championship action on the docket. Skendo Slice back again. Is it Fundy or Fundi? I should have covered
Fundy.
this ahead of time. I should know this, but I know this. You're a fun guy.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You know, there's a reason that it rhymes, but honestly, Kendo, I'm just excited to be here right now. Honestly, I recently have actually been covering and kind of dealing with a lot of high schools, specifically Rocket League and Valorant. I haven't seen too much of the Smash, so I'm really excited to see what these Florida schools kind of have in store for us. We do got Flagler-Palm Coast High School, or FPC Esports. They're going to be facing the Patriot Elite Squad, and they're coming all the way from Freedom High School there. So that's going to be our finals matchup for today. Best of fives, of course, and this is, honestly, the format for Smash is kind of interesting. We were talking about it a little bit before there while we were in setup, and, you know, it's something that I haven't seen before. It's like, yeah, kind of single elim, but kind of crew battles. It's a mix in between. Yeah. It's pretty interesting.
It's best of 5 set. There are 3 players on each team, or 3 students representing each team, and those sets are going to be best of 3. So we're going to start out with a best of 3 1v1, and the team that wins, that gets a point. And of those points, you're working towards that best of 5. So it's going to be the first school that is able to pull off 3 victories over their opponents. We might see 3 students come in and sweep 3 others. We may end up going to those vaunted game or set 4s and set 5s. One thing's for sure, it's going to get interesting, as it always is with Smash, because at the high school level, there is nothing better, in my opinion, than Smash Ultimate being played by some of these budding stars.
Yeah, I mean, Smash, Rocket League, a ton of these games, we're seeing so many young stars come through. We're seeing pros that are like 16, 17, super young now, and everyone's just kind of flexing all of their talent, really. And it's really cool too when you see, I know some of these schools in Play Versus, they've been playing online and stuff, and then they get to go into that LAN setting, see these players that they've been playing with in these leagues and these tournaments, and, you know, have those in-person sets and have that LAN experience. LAN, always an awesome time, regardless of you know, your run or whatever. You know, you're having a good time at that event.
I completely agree with you, and it's another chance to shout out our lovely hosts with Play Versus, because a lot of high school action that goes on year to year, semester to semester, is being done through the Play Versus platform, and it's shout out to them because they created a league play for a large majority of these Florida schools, and of those schools, the ones that qualified get to play in this environment. Ultimately, we're looking at a LAN, we're looking at a state championship finals, and it's a celebration of weeks of a student's efforts. It's wonderful to see esports in it's wonderful to see esports in the scholastic world and the way that it's developing.
Yeah, 100%. High schools, they're getting stronger and stronger. Of course, the infrastructure is getting better. We're seeing schools with arenas and you know, dedicated spaces for some of these teams to play now. But nonetheless, I think we're going to send it to a quick little intermission before we get ready here, before we get into game. But FPC Esports, Patriot Elite Squad, these teams, they've made it to the finals for a reason. They're going to put it all out on those stages tonight, and we're going to send it to a quick little break. We'll be back with game 1, set 1.
Howdy, everybody. We are going live yet again with Florida State Championship action. Play versus and the Florida Association of School Administrators Florida State Championship. This one, of course, Super Smash Brothers Ultimate going to be on the docket. And I hear right off the bat, we're going to get started with a heated mirror match, an Inkling versus Inkling.
Yeah, we're going to have from the side of FPC, they're going to be bringing in Albert Davis to start this one out. And the Patriots elite squad coming from Freedom High School, they've got Adam Del Toro. Both of these players, Inkling players in this tournament, from what I can tell, it looks like both of them actually have a 100% win rate on the character. I have to double check Adams for a sec there. But yeah, this is looking to be a heated matchup. The Inkling mirror can go so many ways. You can have one player playing more campy. You can have one player just stacking on that ink and really just playing beat down the whole game. It can go a lot of different ways, and I think Inkling, kind of like almost like a Fox in Melee type thing. It's one of those characters where you can go from campy to aggressive in this, like, just like a light switch, and you keep your opponent guessing so well.
Definitely, as far as those characters with turtle tendencies, one that has the ability to turn it on a dime. Case in point, 70 damage at the crack of a whip. So both of these players, despite the fact that they're trying to play keep away, are very interested in trying to get combos in.
Yeah, you can already see a nice percent lead racked up for Albert Davis from the Patriot Elite squad. And man, that side B roller, it's such a huge factor in this game as well. You hit that at something like 100%, that could almost be a guaranteed kill if you've got enough ink down, but it's the up air. No smash attack necessary. Inkling, being a light character, gonna get sent up pretty early here on PS2.
I love the movement that we're getting out of both of these combatants early
100%.
on. They are showing us that they have quite a bit of mind games to play with each other. We haven't seen the entire kit for either so far, but I do agree that side B roller definitely going to play a major ripple into the dichotomy of this matchup, and the fact that they both have it. They both have to deal with each other's speed. Side B roller, if utilized in tandem with things like a grapple on this character, really make the stationary defensive style of play something that you have to be careful and mindful of just because of how quick it can transition. Wow, there it is.
Look at that. The confirm off the roller. And the beautiful part about a kill like that is Agent 8 there, the side from FPC, running super low on any kind of really ink there, and is able to get that kill, get right back to full ink, and now rack up this percentage. Look at that right on the wake up. Miss tech there, or tech in place. Gonna get caught out by that roller. Look at how this has flipped right now. What is happening?
Well, the double roller happened, and we have both high damage targets for less than smash confirms. Ooh, this is close. Not going to be able to get the edge guard there. And I'm very impressed by the amount of movement. Both players individually taking their shots. We may see the timer run out before the end of this, but both are playing mind games oh so well.
Yeah, it's almost been a battle of like the heavy hitting moves here. We're seeing slow rack ups of percent, mainly off of roller combos. There has been a ton of rollers in this one, and neither player super keen on dodging them. They really like sitting in the ground there. Look at that. Good ledge setup, but FPC, great way to get back on stage even at this high percent. Get stage control back a little bit there, and at this point, everything's extra credit.
Yeah, 100%. I have to ask, though, whether or not ink is good as a spa day treatment. You know, it's one thing to be okay with staying in the ground, just wallowing in the ink. It's another thing if it's giving you benefit from other avenues. Anyway, we're talking about
yeah, it's a new alternative for mud there.
Yeah, exactly. Whoa.
That's the ledge trap. I think he caught the jump there at the end. That was Adam Del Toro from Patriots Elite. Got caught on the jump, and Albert Davis takes the first game here in this one. So as we mentioned, this is a best of 3, right? So now Albert Davis of FPC is going to be up 1 in the set, and we get to keep moving on. Of course, possibility of a 2-0 here, but that was a pretty back and forth game. I think, you know, you throw a few rollers back and forth the other way, one hits the other player, and it could have easily went the other way. We could have easily seen Patriots Elite up there with a 1-0 as well.
Just as far as map control or stage control, that both were able to exude quite a bit of it. I'm looking for a more domineering play style from either of these students, because really, I don't think anyone took full-on charge of the stage at any given time. They were just able to outskill each other in the moment, those little macro movements that paved the way toward a victory. I think both of them very skilled at their Inkling, though.
100%. And I think, you know, you mentioned a little bit about the movement. The movement was beautiful from both of these players, but one thing we were seeing from the winning side there from Albert Davis, I think it was during that second stock there when they were both at 2-2, was actually down a heavy amount of percent and used this fast fall kind of short hop neutral air loop and just pulled him all the way to the ledge, got about 50-60%, and was able to just start tossing the paint bombs off the ledge. And you get so much control off of that, and being able to just gain center stage, especially as a character like Inkling, you've got more than a few projectiles to work with. It really benefits you in the long run of that game.
Definitely was what won the day in that specific matchup. As we get ready for part 2 of set number 1. One game so far to Adam. Albert looking to get one back. And of course, there's always the question of, in championships like this, do you change things up? Do we go with a different character? Because at the high school level, it's not always a solo character thought process. You might have a few more in the tank than just your main, but from what I've seen, both of these players very good with the Inkling, which it impressed me early on. The movement, as we said, you said it was beautiful. I will say it intimidated me as someone who's very amateurish when it comes down to my smash skill.
Yeah, and the thing about movement like that too is it's not simple. The fast fall timings and things like that, you got to hit it right at the apex of your jump. If you do it any before that, you're going to miss that and just not be able to continue the combo, right? You got to be on your ball on the joystick there, and mastery of movement is what we see kind of elevate players to that next step. You can have great combos and stuff, but once you kind of integrate that movement into the neutral game and be able to get your openings a little bit better, space a little bit better, it really starts to elevate your game. You had mentioned other characters too, and from the stats we actually have in this tournament, shout out PlayVS for all their stats on their website there. It's keeping me nice and informed here. But Adam Del Toro, 23 games or 23 games, I believe, not matches there, yeah, as Inkling. So Inkling main through and through, but it was actually Albert Davis who had a few other characters. I believe Donkey Kong was one of them, possible Bowser Jr. in there. Now, that's a spicy pick right there. And there was actually even pick rates across most of those characters as well.
I need to get in on this sheet. Apparently I'm not logged in to PlayVS, and shame on me for it, but oh my. So we may see a little bit of spice, but I'll be perfectly fine if we see Inkling versus Inkling again, as it sounds like we're getting going back into the match. What do we got for map? What do we got for matchup? It's a little bit more Inkling.
Back to PS2. We actually, a couple color changes as well. Seeing the full range of these alts. And from Patriots Elite, I guess we gotta cover this. Ink now change the color up, but that's gonna be Adam Del Toro. Agent 8 gonna be Albert Davis from FPC. As we mentioned, now up 1-0 in the series, looking to keep this one moving, and already got a pretty early percent lead, keeping some good control of the stage, but nothing too huge just yet.
Although I will say a much better lower level control by Agent 8, who's done a great job of maintaining it, and will get an impressive first stock.
Yeah, the roller, and actually snuck in the downer as well in there to kind of confirm that final hit with the up smash. Good. Those are the nairs I'm talking about. You see hits 2 nairs before that player can even hit the ground, is able to get the re-grab. We are seeing insane aggression out of Albert Davis right now. FPC Esports, are they just in here looking to try and take the first set of the series this quickly?
It's a type of
Could be a
aggression.
2-0.
I would say it's the type of aggression that we need to see, though. And
Boom.
another stock down. Only 57 damage so far. 45 if you're going to do it from the very beginning of the stock. So a big uphill battle for Adam from Freedom High. The Patriots trying to dictate and maintain their freedom on the scoreboard with an early win.
Oh, that's a good little grab there that Adam might be able to get off, but the issue has been the follow-ups. It's been really tough for Adam Del Toro of Patriots Elite to find any follow-ups here when they do find a grab, when they do find a hit. The DI from Albert Davis has been phenomenal, and you're just seeing the aggression. We could see a 3-stock here right now. The percentage is racking up, don't get me wrong, but the up smash out of shield burns the last of the ink to do it, but it does not matter. You make a statement winning that first set 2-0.
That was a very, very brilliant showing. And no, it was actually, it was Ink, Adam Del Toro, if I remember right, who got the first one. We're 1-1, right?
I'm
double checking.
Yeah, we're going to have to get a quick update from production there.
Wait
but
a minute. I might be bamboozled.
I think I'm confusing myself because they had changed colors. I'm not.
The color changing definitely got me as well. So we're brought to question. I think we're going to a number 3, but one thing's for sure, the aggression that came out, that was a difference maker. I also like that paint bomb. They were using it to zone high. They established ground control very early, and I believe that you alluded to it, just how good they were at zoning out any high jumps. They were forcing their opponent to come to them on the ground.
Yeah, 100%. And the second you do finally drop onto the ground there, you're getting hit in the face by a paint roller. You're stuck in the ground. You're getting comboed into oblivion. I mean, we saw 2 stocks being taken, and Albert Davis there took 45% in the entire sequence. And then we saw a little bit more of a rally towards the end. But when you're already down 2 stocks, it's really tough to make that 3-stock comeback. You have to play nearly perfectly. And when you're just getting paint bombs, rollers flying by you, a nice up smash out of shield to finish the game, it's tough to anticipate all of those options, and you're just a little bit too far behind there in the game, but you can maybe try to get some momentum going.
Okay. So yes, I'm lost, my friend. So apparently FPC gonna win set number 1 with a 2-0-3-0. That's pretty stinking impressive, if you ask me. And Albert Davis was able to show off a very, very good inkling.
Yeah, that was impressive. And, we talked about the mechanics from both players. I think in game 1, it was like, oh, these players are neck and neck. I really thought the potential of a game 3 was on the board with it going to last stock, last hit kind of situation. And then game 2 comes in, and Albert Davis, done with the shenanigans, I guess, had kind of learned from map 1, adapted to the opponent, and was just covering every option here. So I think with the set 1 pretty well done and dusted, that's going to be FPC up 1-0 in the series right here. And I believe we're getting more players moved in now. I don't think it's winner stays on. I think we're going to see a new fresh set of 2 players. So we're going to get deeper into these rosters and going to see, we might be good to go for a little bit of a break here before this next one comes through. We're just going to have to see the updates from the center here.
Yeah, we'll double check with that as we do talk just a tiny bit more on this. So what was an extremely impressive start for FPC, as we're working on getting more information on who is coming up next. Again, it's teams of 3. It's teams of 3, and they do change things up. We know that the first set has gone down. Second set is going to be starting now. We have the Bowser Jr. We talked about how much spice that is. Going up against the Kazuya.
All right, so this is a new one, and looking at these teams here, I'm 99% certain that the Kazuya is going to be Ryan Torres from Patriots Elite there. Got about 33 games on the Kazuya here in play versus, mainly playing that Kazuya. It looks like this is a bit of a button check here before we get into the final one. But yeah, and then I had mentioned the Bowser Jr. earlier. Maybe it wasn't Albert Davis who actually had them as a secondary. Maybe it was another player on the roster I kind of just overlooked there. But nonetheless, I'm excited. I was talking about it too. I was like, if we see a Bowser Jr. come out here, I'm going to be excited because kind of a low tier character. Not a lot of players are picking him up and trying to push the character to new heights, but does have a lot of tricky stuff you can do, especially when you drop out of the cart and you get into your kind of like baby mode with the staff. You can do a lot of damage, and your aerials have a lot of knockback there.
Now, I do have more questions as the information that we've been fed, not exactly right on the names. I'm sure that they'll figure that one out and correct it, because I thought we had Albert versus Adam in the first round. I know we can't have it in the second round, which we can go through and talk about the formatting again. In these first 3 sets of 3, it's going to be one of each of these teams going up against each other. There's no reuses. Everyone gets involved. Everyone plays at least once. So there is a little bit of strategy going into each set. You want to have your anchor, but you also at the same time understand that you want to start out strong and on the right foot. There we go. We got correction here. David Kroll's on the Bowser Jr. and Ryan Torres de Soto on Kazuya. And we are at Town and City, of course. So same players, just different names. We want to make sure we give credit to the right students.
Of course. And we actually came in about 30 seconds into this game, and there was already a stock taken. You see Ryan Torres already down to 1 stock, and I mean, I had just mentioned Bowser Jr. pretty well being seen as a bit of a lower tier character, and let's just say Kazuya is up there. Kazuya has a lot of strengths, but is very, very reliant on perfect execution, hitting 0 to death combos, a very, very technical character. And right now, a lot of the bigger range, the disjointed hitboxes from Bowser Jr. are just taking the lead. I mean, look at that right there.
Hey, what we saw was an absolute slobber knocker, and I mean that in the positive sense, not necessarily the back and forth. Just 100% Bowser Jr. the entirety of game 1, set number 2. That was impressive. I was going to ask you in all of that. I don't see very much Bowser Jr. What are we expecting out of this character? But apparently a smackdown is what we're going to get.
You've seen it. Yeah, so Bowser Jr., I guess we got a second to talk about this now because that game just flew by. But Bowser Jr., David Kroll there piloting the character, is very interesting. Has a lot of, as I mentioned, disjointed hitbox, which means you're getting hit by a weapon or some kind of object where you can't actually hit that character back. So has a lot of agency in that, where you can kind of, there's like a fork you can use that has really long range. The forward tilt, he just throws out his tongue and starts licking back and forth there. And those ones actually, they're going to provide a lot of benefits into Kazuya, because Kazuya's always attacking you with his own limbs. So you're going to be able to get the advantage there, rack up a little bit of percent. But then you also saw the wind-up toy there that he pulls out in that little trap. He can place it on the ground. It's going to walk back and forth across the stage, and the first enemy that it hits is actually going to explode on them. So oftentimes you can use it on the shield and get a little bit of extra pressure, keep your combo going, or you can just use it as, don't stay on the ground, you can't stand on this platform, and you can kind of just deter the opponent away from a certain part of the stage like that. So you have a lot of control, especially against Kazuya.
So yeah, you made it sound like there's a lot of utility there. So similar character to almost if you combined a Rob with a Pac-Man.
Almost, just constantly throwing items, like constantly controlling the stage, and has a lot of those same cool movement techniques that Rob has. Not similar, but has a horizontal dash, can fly vertically very, very fast as well. The one, I guess, disadvantage you really see of Bowser Jr. is the recovery. Once you hit that up B, you lose your cart until you touch ground again, and you have nothing else to use. You have one aerial move that does a lot of damage, has a lot of knockback, but other than that, you are a sitting duck right there when he pops out of the cart.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense now. I've learned the kit, and I do appreciate the education. Like,
No
I
problem.
personally have that. It is quite literally the first time I've seen a Bowser Jr. in my commentary experience. So being able to get the full rundown helps me out, especially when what we ended up seeing was a very short game number 1 of set number 2. And right now, they're looking to try to make short work of it yet again. Going on the edge guard, looking for the confirm. Gonna play it one safe.
And right now, you're seeing a bit of almost like the pitfalls of Kazuya as a character themselves. Is you see the electric hit and you see the combo opportunity, but you have to be frame perfect on some of these follow-ups. Look at that, though. Sets up the stun, but it's not going to send into the blast zone. Some great DI from Bowser Jr.
I love it, being able to give it a little bit of extra damage, and that is what it is all about. Once you get into these 100 and above damage scenarios, you're just trying to create off the stock. And look at this control from the ground. That toy is going everywhere.
I'm telling you. And yeah, as you can see too, it's an item on the stage, so either player can pick it up if they time it right. Actually, Ryan Torres doing a nice little pitch catch from the air there. But so far, that wind-up toy is the crux of this game right now. Ryan Torres can barely stand on the stage because of the fear of it, and then you have to contest with the Bowser Jr. themselves.
I'd like to see a little bit more of the Kazuya kit. He's using those laser strikes to try to zone things out, get a little bit extra damage. But all in all, it just seems like the moment you step into Bowser Jr.'s inner area, it is a danger zone. They'll manage to finish the stock, get the confirm, but they're almost an entire stock down.
Wow, rage up from Kazuya, but you're stuck in the ledge guard position, and Bowser Jr., that back air, super, super good. He just gets to throw out. I don't even know what that is. The giant weight, the wrecking ball, something like that. It looks like a giant dumbbell you'd see in like old cartoons.
Okay, I am in full enjoyment of the Bowser Jr. as a character. I gotta get me one at this point. Everything about this kit screams to me a fun. When your cart even is trying to get a couple licks in, that is a very joyous character. Shame on me for not knowing about Bowser Jr. I know now, and it's all courtesy of David from FPC. So, well, now they're up 2. Now they are up 2 in the best of 3 sets. We do know, of course, who we're going to see last, and that'll be on the side of Freedom High School. It should be Dylan, and it should be Fletcher from the side of Flagler-Palm Coast High. And normally you save your best for last. You got that anchor position. Either one of these teams, that's a scary thought, and I wonder what we're going to get to see.
Yeah, regardless of the situation, as Patriot Elite right now, you're in reverse sweep territory. You have to win 3 straight if you want this grand finals to be in your hands. Our last player here, Fletcher from FPC, looks like, once again, like most of this FPC roster, has more than a few characters that they pull out. I'm seeing Sora on here. I'm seeing the Inkling as well. And then also a little bit of Ganondorf. So we might even see a heavy get pulled out here. That could be an interesting one. Ganon, I'm telling you, you think you're safe, and then you get hit by 1 smash attack, and then 2 smash attacks, and then 3 smash attacks, and all of your stocks are gone. So you really got to be wary about those heavy players. The Ganon players, the Bowser players, they'll catch you off guard. It's something you definitely can't forget about. And Dylan over from the side of Patriots Elite, we're going to see a Rob, so that's something we haven't seen in the series just yet.
Okay. Yeah, Rob, I speak the language of Rob. I do also speak the language of Sora. No, yeah, binary. We can go with that. We'll just cast in binary the rest of it. 0 0 0 0 0 0 1 1 0 1 0 1 0 1 1 1 0 0 0 1 1 1 1 0
1 1.
1 1.
Yeah,
Oh,
gotcha.
0 0 0 1. Oh, yeah, no, never mind. I apologize. And for those who
We have
actually
fun.
speak in binary, folks, I apologize in general. I may have cursed.
That was
Nope, nope. We'll stop right there. The binary is done. I'm done speaking in tongues. But we do have upcoming a very interesting matchup, and the Ganondorf though. Okay,
I
you're
don't
gonna
know
have to,
if
you're
we're
gonna
gonna
have to
see
you're
it.
gonna have to you're gonna have to like convince me of the Ganondorf, because I understand the character. The character's been around for a little bit. Very heavy, very slow, and a lot of the times you're committing so much time to those smashes. It's very tough to get them in. How many good Ganondorfs have you seen? Because for me, I haven't
It's
seen many.
I agree. It's tough to play the character, and you are at almost a disadvantage against so many characters the second you just pick it, right? But like most heavies, actually very similar to Bowser, you're playing off of hard reads. DDD is kind of similar, where you have a good projectile with DDD, but when you're looking at kind of making that kill, you're either playing an edge guard game or an aerial game, or you're trying to make a hard read with a smash attack, read a roll, tech right or left, and that's where Ganon really shines. The side B chokehold with Ganon, he gets in there, drops him to the ground, and it's an instant tech situation. Are they going to stand in place? Are they going to go away, back or forth? And that's kind of what you're playing for with Ganondorf. The second you're sent off the stage, that's when things get tough, because Ganon's recovery, lackluster. You have
Very.
slow aerial movement. You've got barely a side B that moves you about this much horizontally, and then you've got the up B that it's respectable, but it's nothing to write home about.
Yeah, the thing I love Ganondorf for the most would be like a home run derby. If you know how to
Exactly.
string it all together, one of the best at doing that. So I believe we just heard in our ear. We know we have a Rob. What was the other one?
Sora.
Sora versus Rob. Okay, this is going to be interesting. If you are the Sora, you cannot get too carried away with the amount of movement, because that Rob is going to zone you.
Yeah, and the thing is, Rob, yeah, you've got the zoning mechanics as well. You have the neutral air, which is great for just kind of spacing around the stage. It puts a nice 360 hitbox around you. But then, you mentioned it, he's got the projectiles. He's got that neutral B laser, which is going to get fully charged up over time. But the gyro is the key to Rob. The gyro is the character, essentially. You set up that gyro, you toss the gyro, you're constantly resetting it for yourself. And if your opponent's holding shield, you get a Rob player with the right setup. That shield is either going to be completely broken, or you're just going to get a shield poke and start a combo. Sometimes it feels like you can't even do anything when the setup is right.
And Rob is one of those deceptive characters, because you wouldn't expect someone with as many short range attacks to have that much range, especially with the gyro, correct? I always want to call
gyro.
it a gear. There are times I want to call it a top, but then again, that's my own fault for being. But they throw out that gyro, and you get a lot of distance. It's gonna help in the zoning battle. That is a lot of the magic we see coming from a Sora. And right off the bat, we're looking at this Rob looking to try to mix things up.
Yeah, much slower game than the past two we've already seen. I feel like we would have seen a kill in some of these previous sets already, but now you're seeing the gyros on the board. I like the idea from Sora, from Dylan there, to just completely toss it off the map. Get it out, wait for him to have to charge up, stack up another one here. And pretty even on percents, although I feel like the stage control is a little bit more in Rob's hands right now.
Yeah, and it needs to be. You're gonna have to watch out for the up tilt up smash from Sora, along with all
Mhm.
those zoning tools. I know Rob can be a floaty character. I'd really like to see the Rob try to take ground control, really limit the Sora, try to force it to the air. And so far, the time Sora has been in the air, major advantage for Rob.
Yeah, and he's able to convert that into a kill at the ledge as well. Sora, though, right back off the spawn platform, instantly hitting those neutral airs, trying to convert into something, but that up B, great kill move as Sora. It's even going to star KO there right off the top. And that's one of the main kill options that I see most Sora players doing as well, because you can hit it so high in the air that sometimes you can kill at 70 or 80 depending on the other character. If they're light enough, you can just send them flying with that one there. But so far, one thing I've seen is that Sora has been choked out of the projectile game mostly. We're not seeing a lot of neutral bees. We're not seeing a lot of thunder, a lot of fireballs.
Agreed. It seems like it's a battle for the low ground because both are pressing their attack once they get the other in the air. The edge guard coming out from the Sora, not enough to handle the Rob, and we got to give credit where credit is due. Every angle of the map, both of these combatants looking so good. Oh, can't get that high. You got to watch out.
Look at that. And what was an early lead for the Rob in this one is actually turned into a lead for Fletcher over on the Sora. Oh, that could have been an interesting one. The trip happens right there from the down tilt, but he's not able to correctly read the roll after, which means Sora's safe for a couple more seconds.
Only a couple, though, because the Rob, we saw early on just how much damage the Rob can do in a short span of time. It is the mission. Can you get low? Right now, the Rob getting under the skin of Sora, but immediately takes him to the sky yet again. There's the smash, and they are finished.
You know it was coming. The up air to finish that one off. Didn't even need that up B. I was hyping it up so much after the first stock was taken. And then we actually ended up seeing just completely different moves used for the rest of those kills there. Not really relying on that classic setup. And it's a bit of a risky one as well, because if there is an air dodge, right, you can go completely flying by and then you're just stuck there in the tumble state. But nonetheless, a great conversion from Sora, from Fletcher, being down a stock at the starting, kind of resetting your game and constantly hitting those neutral airs, just battering this robot with the key over and over again.
Well, two of those confirms, I feel, came off of the fact that the Rob got just a tiny bit too floaty on recovery. You get too high, that Sora is going to jump up and has the mobility, the extra dashes, the extra attack in order to punish you, and that is exactly what happened twice. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, well, now you're down a game in this final set, and your tournament life, the state championship life, is on the line. So if you are Dylan Hoopengarner, you have to show up on your Rob right here and right now.
The weight on your shoulders cannot be understated. This could be the last game of Smash that we see here in this championship, or we could have another 3 sets for all we know. It all comes down to this possibly this last game. I don't want to say that. I don't want to speak anything into the future just yet, because Dylan on the Rob, we were seeing some moments of brilliance for sure, especially that first kill. Very dominant first stock. And then kind of just the mid-game adaptation from the Sora became a little bit too much to handle and kind of was just getting overwhelmed by a lot of the quick attacks. Wasn't able to kind of grab that control back like they really had at the starting.
Yeah, adjustments make champions, though, and I say that about every single title that I've ever covered. If you want to be a champion, be flexible enough to adjust on the fly, and if you're able to do it at a high school level, oh my goodness, are you so valuable to your team. I do want to give a shout out, because normally we talk about the coaches at the very beginning, but for Flagler-Palm Coast High. It's John Mastrapio. I might have butchered your name, my friend, but if I did, understand you're amazing at what you're doing there for everybody for FPC Esports. And then on the Patriots Elite side, Freedom High School, Jonathan Schaefer and Joshua Katz. But everybody goes into making these teams what they are. So shout out to the coaches, shout out to the administrators who have been doing so much for their students throughout the season. To keep in mind, it is a long season, a regular season that gets them to a playoff point, and then they go through the playoffs. This is the culmination of it all. A finals on land, broadcast for everyone that you love who is able to make it there. Like, guaranteed there's some at home as well. There's no greater pressure, but there's also no greater joy.
That's 100% right. You know, we talk about the players all the time. That's who we're here to show off. But you're right. We do have to give a hand to all the faculty, the coaches, everyone who's supporting these teams, getting them out to a LAN in the first place. I mean, come on. That's something I only wish I could have done while I was in high school, right? So it's beautiful to see. And every single time I come on to some kind of high school esports stream or event, I'm seeing more and more dedicated people beyond just the students. I'm seeing more and more dedicated coaches who want to give everyone an opportunity to compete. And, you know, for some of these students, they're even making some prize money as well.
Yeah, exactly. And that is what the PlayVS platform is all about, creating an avenue with which some of these state high school programs, representation, in this case, the Florida University, I butchered it once earlier, and I over-explained myself. Florida Association of School Administrators. I don't want to call them FASA. I want to call them what they are, but the combination of PlayVS and this Association of School Administrators has been glorious, and it all culminates here. The question is, do we end up seeing the Rob start the comeback, or do we see a perfect sweep from, and I almost chortle at the idea of there being a perfect sweep, because Flagler-Palm Coast have just been that good.
That's true. They have definitely shown right now seemingly the stronger team in the series, but nothing is over till it's over. Already we're seeing, once again, we saw the early percentage lead go over to the Rob. Now things are evening out a little bit more, but this is a scrappy one to start for sure. And these are the loops. Look at that. It doesn't do a ton of damage, right? But when you hit 6 or 7 of them in a row, then you're looking at 25 to 30%, which can then maybe even combo into something like an up B or an up air if you get the right hit. And it can start to be overwhelming. Sora, that floaty character, gets to get so many aerials off.
But I like what we're seeing out of Dylan. It's a little more grounded play. It's slowing down the pace and trying to interrupt the tempo that you would normally expect from a Sora player. Equal to the task is Fletcher, though, has been picking points and gets the up for the stock. Wow.
Just barely catches him with the tip of that up smash. I think Dylan was just floating a little bit too close to Fletcher's Keyblade there, and that's the first one to come through. But even as Dylan right now, you really can't be too out of it, because you still have 113% on this Sora. That's one good up air or a back air, even a side B could take that kill for you as the Rob right now. So you're still in good standing, but the extra credit from Sora, from Fletcher right now, it keeps racking up close to 70%.
I gotta admire what we are seeing from Fletcher, though, because the amount of tech being used just on I love that. That's what we're talking about with Sora's dashes. Has so much mobility, but the amount, how well they're utilizing their spells, like it's Shadow Wizard Money Gang level.
For sure. And that was something that I actually talked about earlier in game 1, was that we weren't seeing too much use of the neutral B from the Sora, and then later on into the game we start seeing a lot more thunders at the ledge, a lot more fireballs being thrown out, and instantly it was converting into kills, and it was starting to get way better percent leads, and then eventually brought the game win, brought you into the situation you're in right now, where you're sitting in grand finals point, and you're even up in the game right now with a nice little percent lead. Oh, that's a cheeky up air right there, and it's going to hit him at the ledge as well, but not safe for too long as he's straight back to a ledge situation.
I will say, watch the Blizzaga. It's been utilized so well. Did they
Mhm.
get a little bit of the gyro there? They smacked the gyro back. I love it. Oh, a little bit of baseball action. I love it.
Huge factor in the game here, and we even saw too the little setup there as well. You saw how he was down tilting him back and forth into the gyro, and then it got him a free grab as well. Wasn't able to convert into a kill, but 100% super respectable considering you were down like 60 or 70. You definitely take those right now as Dylan, but you're in last stock situation. It's your last life to save the game. You find the back air, a stray one in center stage, but you take them no matter which way they come. Now you just got to make it back to stage, start playing your grounded control game that you've been doing so well. And maybe, just maybe, you might find yourself in a game 3.
We're getting a masterclass of the macro of both of these characters, and it's going down to the wire. One stock left for Rob, one stock left for the Sora, and the toss off. It may add some positioning, but not so much when the Sora is just looking to knock you up.
Yeah, it's dangerous percent for Rob right now, but he's doing very good to stay aggressive while not being too risky.
Oh!
Look at the gyro snipe!
Oh, such good utilization of the gyro throughout, and for it to end that way, we're gonna go to a decisive third stock in set number 3. No perfect sweeps here. They're fighting back. Our freedom. The Patriots have arrived.
I'm telling you, you get back to your grounded game, you start utilizing that gyro, and the second we saw Fletcher off stage there, it was gyro, laser beam, gyro, back and forth, and you only have so much mobility in the air. You got to use that up B at some point, and the prediction on that up B, perfect timing on the gyro, and not only that, but that's such a... It's a momentum starter. It's a mental boost for you. You go into game 3, you take a nice win like that, and you're like, guys, we are still here. We are still in this. I'm ready to take this. I'm ready to let you guys get back in there and continue this series. So we're headed straight to a game 3. Man, I gotta be honest, after those first stock from Fletcher, I didn't know if we were going to see a game 3. It looked like we had another dominant start from the Sora, but Dylan did a great job at turning it around.
I agree with you, and it's also just credit to what Dylan was able to do under pressure. Patience under pressure is very hard to achieve at times, and that won a macro battle against a very impressive Sora on the other side of the competition.
Yeah, now it's back to evens, though. Both of these players reset to 0, reset to 3 stocks.
We might have lost something there. I am sad, and I'm sure they'll be in our ear shortly with what just happened, but we might have lost again. I know there's been some power struggles. There have been some power struggles throughout the day, and my hope is that we'll be getting back to the action very shortly. But what we got to see from Dylan in game number 2 of this set was fantastic, and I've really enjoyed seeing the adjustments made by both combatants. If you are Fletcher and the Sora, maybe there's a little bit of shock value due to the fact that this Rob that could have fallen pretty dynamically found a way around what was a very oppressive offense in game number 1 to beat you at your own game in game number 2.
Yeah, that's what you got to keep in mind. Even in that last stock situation in game 2, Rob was sitting there at, I think, 115, maybe closer to 120. It was kill range for Sora for sure, but I liked how Dylan kind of kept their composure, sat at the ledge, and just stuck to their guns. You know what kind of you know what your character has available in the kit, you know how you can utilize it, and utilized it perfectly at the end there, and wasn't being too risky while they were at it. Sitting at the ledge, waiting, not going to do any crazy off-stage plays, try to hit a back air and, 100% cement the game. Dylan was perfectly fine with that gyro missing, but when it lands, you take that game and you move straight in with momentum, with a nice little boost under yourself as well, straight into game 3. And I'm getting word here, I think we are going to send it to a quick intermission. Kendo will be back with possibly our final game of the series. This is going to be game 3 in the set between Fletcher and Dylan. We'll be right back.
One more go of it, folks. FBC Esports, Patriots Elite Squad. And there's been a dynamic advantage levied, but it is Dylan on the Rob, trying to defend the honor of an entire school. It's the Florida State Championships. PlayVS bringing you all the action. Power, not sure what happened exactly, but it is back, and we are all ready to get a little bit of Smash Mouth offense on the ground level between these two.
Yeah, all that matters is we're back in here to game 3, and it's an early lead for this Rob. Great control of the ledge. Really tough for Sora to get back to stage, but Fletcher right there with the dashes. Doesn't usually use those on stage as well, so I think Dylan was really blindsided by that, and it gave center stage to Sora. You get the setups once again. Look at these beautiful fast falls. It's not going to find the kill. I don't think they had the sweet spot on the up air, but instantly turn this stock around with one string.
Hey, if you combine all the consecutive hits together, that was at least a 15 combo. Rob's going to want to get that one back because it was a very dominant early. They will return the favor, and we are even Stevens going into the second stock for each. But you got to watch those Sora combos. You have to get down and defend the lower levels.
Yeah, it's that right there. So the neutral air, you can hit 1, 2, 3. There's 3 hits, and you kind of manually time them yourself. But as you see, Fletcher hits the ground and then jumps back up and is only hitting that 1, 2, so not knocking them away in the end. And it just means you get to keep resetting that, keep hitting that combo. And something like that really turns the tide of the game. It means that all that percent racked up from a great neutral game off the Rob is just instantly reversed. And as we saw in that stock, sometimes converted into a kill as well.
I do see a few more grabs coming in from Rob, trying to get in the face of Fletcher. Just hasn't been able to sustain very much pressure once they've been able to get there. There's a lot of retreating, and the Sora is taking full advantage every single retreat we see. But the grab might lead to the confirm. There it is, up by 1.
Sora, so light. That's kill percentage, especially when Rob's in rage, but they just flipped roles after the first stock and instantly trade it back, though. We saw Fletcher with the first kill that time, and then this time we switch it out. See Dylan with the first kill, but Fletcher immediately returns, and it's last stock situation. Dylan, will you keep your team in this tournament right now, in these finals, or is Fletcher just going to bring it home in 3-0 fashion in the series?
Well, Fletcher was able to put a good edge guard on, but credit to Dylan, was just able to avoid it. Does get damaged quite a bit in the process, and now desperately down. Sora on the edge, looking for the confirm, trying to eke the Rob out, and just able to get back as Dylan, but there is so much damage as we speak, because that Rob's flying everywhere.
100% on the Rob, doing a good job to even it out. But every little stray hit from the Sora could mean devastation. Close to the blast zone, not going to take him just yet. So high up, the DI keeping them in this game for now. Dylan, you are literally in a last hit situation. You need to set this up perfectly. Oh, this is another ledge setup. We saw this last time. Don't let Dylan get the gyro out.
I really want to see Dylan work the aggression. That has been what has really worked. Taking advantage and
pulls it through.
Wow!
Insane there from the Rob. Down like 120% at one point and instantly takes that one back. That's what you get as Sora, as a light character like that. It's the trade-off you make for the floatiness, for those super, super high jumps, and for a lot of that aerial mobility that you get. You do got a weakness behind it, and all you need is an up air or an up smash there at like 100%. Very low kill percentage on that character, and Rob, just a little bit beefier in that matchup, was able to hang on for dear life at the end there.
And it just seems at the end, Dylan took there was a mentality shift. And I feel like it should have been a mentality shift that took place and dictated the entirety of this matchup, because when Dylan was on point, being more smash mouth in the mentality of utilizing the Rob, going to the Sora rather than allowing the Sora to come to you and retreating at times, it really made a large difference. The aggression pays off, and Dylan defends the honor of Freedom High. So, do want to talk about where the format goes from here. At this point, we have played the first 3 sets in our best of 5 sets. Freedom is, of course, down 1-2 to the Flagler-Palm coast. We can see anyone going into game number 4. They won't be able to play in game number 5, but it's an opportunity for both teams to hit us with their best shot. Now, my question becomes, do we see the 2 anchors in the lineup go up against each other again? And if we do, I mean, does Dylan continue to hold that momentum on the Rob?
I think that's a great question. And while we haven't seen, right, we've only seen the matchups that we've gotten on screen, but I think if I'm FPC here, I'm almost thinking about Albert Davis. They started off very, very hot. They had a 3-stock game on the Inkling, but I don't personally know how that player's Rob matchup is like, right? Maybe they specifically don't want them playing against the Rob, and you want to bring Sora back in, you want to bring Fletcher back in. That's going to be up to the team to decide, and up to that coaching staff that we talked about before, right? You kind of got to confer within yourselves and say, okay, we're on match point here. It just barely slipped out of our grasp by one last hit situation. So who do we bring in here that's really going to hammer this one home? That's a great question. And I think if I'm the Patriots here, or Patriot Elite Squad, I might just bring Dylan back in on the Rob. He was playing a very well-rounded game there, and I think Rob itself, from the characters that we've seen as well, I think Rob may have the best matchups into kind of just the wider roster of characters here.
I would agree with you. I liked what we saw out of Dylan's Rob, and I mean, case in point, you can state the obvious. It was
the win.
What got them the win and is keeping them here into set 4. Although it looks like we're getting the information, preliminary information. Looks like we might see a repeat of match number 2. David Kroll and Ryan Torres, Bowser Jr. against Kazuya.
That's an interesting pick there. Honestly, from both, I should say FPC, that Bowser Jr. did have a very, very strong set, but this is where I'm going back to kind of Patriots pick there. That Kazuya had a very tough time in that set. Really couldn't get any substantial hits there on the Bowser Jr. And it took a lot of special moves and rage being up there on the Kazuya to really be able to convert into kills. Going back into this one, are we just going to see kind of a repeat of game 2 where Bowser Jr. comes in 3 stocks and then, maybe we see a closer game 2, but still able to take a pretty easy victory there, I think, for the Bowser Jr. I think we really didn't see them have too much trouble with the Kazuya itself.
Yeah, it was actually one of the more impressive matches for an individual player. I don't want to call anything a blowout, but that was about as close as you can get with how well the Bowser Jr. was able to take advantage of the Kazuya one side of the arena, one side of the map to the other.
And it looks like we are getting into game here. See our players once again. I'm going to refresh myself on the names here. We've got on the Bowser Jr., that is going to be David Kroll, and it's Ryan Torres de Soto over on the Kazuya.
And Town and City map. It's going to be interesting to see how everything moves out. Town and City, one of my favorite maps, just doing parts of the amount of motion. You have platforms moving in and out. You're going to see it on your screen right now. It's definitely going to add a different dynamic from what we saw in the first matchup between these two.
Yeah, it means if, for example, if you've got combos that are relying on, say, those lower platforms on Battlefield or something like that, you may not have that on every transformation here on Town and City, and you're going to have to adjust accordingly. So yeah, it's definitely one that keeps you on your toes, and it's one where you're not just kind of playing. It's nice when we see not small Battlefield as the first one. Oftentimes players just want to go straight to small Battlefield and play it out from there, and boom, that's the fork. We're seeing those disjoints from the Bowser Jr.
All I'm going to say is that is a clean Bowser Jr. Before today, I didn't realize just how interesting gameplay can be on this character. But, oh, is it so fun? It looked like there was a stun lock there, but was not really overutilized. And you don't punish the stun? That hurts.
Yeah, he does get a conversion off of it. He does get it into the up smash. It's not enough for the kill. However, that's what I'm talking about. We saw a very clean combo there from Kazuya, and I mentioned this in the earlier set between these players. Kazuya's very high execution, coming from originally from Tekken, one of the toughest fighting games to really just play and execute in general. And a lot of those mechanics were actually transferred over to Smash. And of course, with more of the aerial gameplay and stuff like that, you're weaving in jumps and fastballs and the down air spike, and you have to use a lot of utility in your kit to make these combos work, and they have to be timed to a T. Look at that. Hits the Wind God Fist, but it's not a connect. And there's the little scepter. That's what I'm talking about. When you pop out of the recovery from Bowser Jr., you have your one ability there. It's the only ability you can use, but above 100, it's sending them far.
Almost dangling on the edge was our Bowser Jr. coming from David. Very impressive, the amount of movement that we're getting out of the Bowser Jr. Gonna have to play things back from the edge. The Kazuya trying to maintain some of this pressure in the middle of the stage, but just getting licked off the map yet again. My God. You don't get to say that very often, and there it is. That's number 1 on the set.
Huge conversion off of the windup there as well. Little explosion, pops him up into the air. Back air as the kill confirm for Bowser Jr. And the second we had these players locked in as our possibly final matchup here, this was my kind of immediate concern, was that we might see a very similar one, which means this Kazuya is going to have a tough time fighting back in this one. Granted, not a 3 stock. That is insane progress coming from the first time, and we saw a lot more conversions off of the Wind God Fist, off of the side B there, that little stun lock that you mentioned. We were starting to see nicer and more clean setups and getting to that final hit. That final hit is the key because that's where you're getting the kill most of the times.
And it was much better grounded and centered gameplay from the Kazuya. Gonna have to find ways to utilize the utility of Bowser Jr. against them. At times, the toy can make it almost feel like a 2v1 with it crawling around on the ground that Kazuya wants to own, but just have not been able to maintain some of the pressure when they're there. Do I think the stage helps the Kazuya? Absolutely. There has been a change in the dichotomy of this matchup. Will it be enough to change the outcome that we've seen so far? Because that's 3 straight games within 2 different sets. It's been a pretty dominant showing from David on Bowser Jr.
Yeah, that's for sure. An interesting one, you mentioned Town and City, and if that was a pick, say, from the Kazuya, from Ryan Torres there, as the loser, as long as it's not striked out, you can go straight back over to that Town and City, as long as it's available in the pool there. And Town and City is a really interesting one. There's a cool interaction with Kazuya, where when you're on one of those farther out platforms on one of the transformations where you're so close to that blast zone, there's a command throw. It's like you grab them and then you have to do an input to do the throw, one of those Tekken inputs. And once you do it, it can kill at like 40%. It has insane knockback, insane base knockback. So regardless of the percent, it's throwing them fairly far. And here we are on Town and City. You get the right transformation. You pick up a grab on one of those platforms. You can get a free kind of cheeky kill. Look at these conversions. This is what I'm talking about. Close to the 0 to death, but not going to hit the final smash attack.
Yeah, very good start out of the Kazuya, and Ryan's looking to change the fate. They keep the pressure on. Wow.
Under the stage, too.
I remember when we first started talking about Bowser Jr., we didn't exactly compliment the mobility, but wow, has this been utilized so well.
Yeah, very good at using that side B, which is going to be the little go-kart where he starts flying across the stage right there. You just saw him use it in the air as well. And that's that throw that I'm talking about. Look at him. Obviously, 130%. You're almost guaranteeing the kill at that point. But in certain situations, say like on a platform like that, those kills can come pretty early there as well. Wow. That move right there, that same setup situation has been key to the gameplay from David Kroll here.
And David has some gears to grind and has taken it out on the opponent. Will they be able to get the finish? Will this be a state championship for Flagler-Palm Coast? Or does the Florida Association of School Administrators favor a little more content? We're going to find out, although this is dangerous confines for the Kazuya. That's it. It's over.
That's it. FPC Esports and David Kroll back again on the Bowser Jr. are going to take that set and become your Play versus Spring 24 high school champions here at the LAN from the Florida Association of School Administrators.
Love it. I really love it. When we saw the pick, we questioned it. I'm not going to go as far as to question it anymore. I am going to compliment what we saw as great play. I did not know about Bowser Jr. before. And in all honesty, I'm never going to forget Bowser Jr. I may actually pick up a new main myself with the kit, the utility, the utilization. And then we got to see somebody who, in my opinion, not having seen other Bowser Jr.'s before, just the mobility around the map. It felt like this was someone who was very comfortable with their Bowser Jr.
Yeah, the speed around the map, right? You're not expecting that from a character with Bowser Jr. And, you mentioned how, like, seamless and kind of smooth it was, and the transition from cart to up B and using that scepter attack that I had talked about as well. We saw that utilized for some kills and great plays at the ledge. He knows that Kazuya is not a character that's snapping to that ledge immediately on the recovery, and using that forward smash every time almost caught him at the ledge. It got 2 kills in our final game right there, and I think throughout the day we probably saw it grab 5 or 6 kills total.
Well, I want to do some quick shout outs to everybody involved. Of course, we've been bringing you the Florida Association of School Administrators Florida State Championship. It's brought to you by our friends at PlayVS. There's a whole bunch of state high school championships that are going on in various games and in various titles. And if not for PlayVS, bringing a platform for league play, for playoffs, for these grand finals and live events, you would not have the content that you're seeing here. So it's not only a bigger round of applause to those students, to the administrators, but to the platform that's getting us here and bringing everything together. But again, you got to shout everybody out, whether it be PlayVS, whether it be the coaches, Mr. Mastro Piero, Schaefer, and Katz. It's a celebration of what Scholastic Esports is all about, and I'm hoping that everybody there in Florida not only enjoyed it, but they get the family moment out of it. Win or lose, it is all about the growth of our students. It's been a joy and a pleasure to be a part of it, and I want to thank everybody involved for allowing me to be a small part of it as well.
Yeah, 100%. It's been a blast here. I got to be exposed to some players that I have never seen before. This Florida scene, brand new to me. And of course, the thing about these high school players, especially in a game like Smash, for all we know, these are some players who are tearing up the local scenes, and then they get to play at their high school as well, right? So we saw some great mechanics out of these kids. We saw tight matchups as well. I mean, we brought it to a game 4. Dylan had that in the bag for us, gave us some entertainment, even if they weren't able to grab the finals. And FPC Esports, now you have your championship moment, right? You're on LAN, you get to pop off as a team, and you get to, see the fruits of your labor, the results of all your hard work throughout this season, and you just cap it off so well for yourselves.
Speaking of capping it off, that is exactly what we're going to do here. While this state championship is over, there are plenty more to come. So make sure you leave a follow for PlayVS, and you'll get to see more of that Scholastic High School Championship action. But we'll see you then.